Obviously, land is less valuable if it doesn't have water or sewer on it. And you have to consider access for a piece of land if it backs up to a public road. But I definitely advise you to buy land because they're not making any more of it. Here's the reasons why it's more complicated to buy land. Land is harder to finance because the first thing is when the market drops, the land loses most of its value quicker than a piece of land that has a home on it. Most people, if they lose their job, they're going to pay their house mortgage first before they're going to pay their land mortgage. This is why it's more difficult for land financing because it's just a riskier product for the bank. As a mortgage lender, this is how I can help people buy land. There's about 4 options when you want to buy a piece of land. There's cash, there's owner financing, there's a construction loan, and conventional financing. With conventional financing, you're going to have to put down about 20 to 30%. With a construction loan, you can put as little as 3.5% down. With seller financing, you can get really creative and put zero down. With cash, of course, you'll have no interest, but you give up your leverage. One of my favorite ways is help people get construction loans. So the way that you can take advantage of the 3.5% down is that you have to stay at $600,000 or less. So for example, you pay $200,000 for the land, your cost to build is $400,000, which equals $600,000. The good thing about land is you can find a lot of it for less than $200,000. The other complication for financing for land is the zoning. When land has a house on it, you already know that it's zoned for residential use. Land could be tricky if it was previously zoned agricultural. It also depends on city planning. For example, I bought a 16-acre plot that at the time the city only allowed one house per acre. So 17 years later, they changed the plan, and now I can have 8 to 15 homes per acre, which is a developer's dream. And some people are getting clever and doing land hacking and farm hacking. Land hacking works best when it's zoned agricultural and it has at least one existing property on it. And you can apply to have the additional acres converted into recreational land. So, for example, you could have a 30-acre property, and 10 of it could be recreational for camping, and the other 10 of it you can rent out to farmers. And even if it's wooded, you can sell the wood on the land, and it's kind of a free way to get the forest cleared. And you can turn that land into pasture, which you can rent out to farmers to grow crops on, or you can rent it out for cattle or sheep to graze on. And you can add an ADU and glamping structures, which turns it into a profitable Airbnb. So if you go a step farther and get your exotic animal license, and you can add a small exotic petting zoo, which can add more attraction and appeal for visitors. There are other people that land hacked in this manner and are making about $60,000 a month just off of one property. And on the other hand, farm hacking is acting more like a traditional farm. It's kind of similar to land hacking, but you focus your activities on site to be around agriculture. So that could be a pumpkin patch where people come pick pumpkins from. It could be berry picking and farm tours. And it varies per state, but you have to have a certain amount of acres to qualify as a farm. Another benefit if you buy land that's agricultural, you just need to put a cow or a horse on it, and then you get reduced property taxes. For more than 30 years, most of my real estate investing has been rental properties. There's another type of loan that's great if you want to buy a rental property. And it doesn't even matter if you have a job. It's called the DSCR, which stands for Debt Coverage Service Rental, which means that all we're taking into consideration is your credit score and what the rents on the property bring in, because we're going to consider your future rent as your income qualifier. But you have to be prepared to put about 20 to 25% down, which is normal on an investment property anyway, even if you went the conventional loan route. The benefits of this is that you don't have to worry about your employment or your income, and it's just a reduced documentation loan. This is very useful for people that want to flip homes or buy a 12-unit property. If you're looking to buy land or a house and you want to check where your numbers are at, go to the link in the description or reach out to me. And I can run the numbers for free for you and see where you're at.